Okay, everybody, play along. Knock, knock. Doctor. Note to self, never have a swivel chair when trying to record. This is way too distracting. Hello everybody, welcome back. A couple of questions to get out of the way right at first. Number one, Mike, why aren't we at your studio / garage / frozen hellhole? Two reasons, it's really cold this morning. And number two, I needed to whiteboard. Question number two, what was with the stupid Doctor Who gag that you started the video with? Well, first of all, it's Doctor Who, so it's not stupid. Anything Doctor Who is awesome. It's just a fact. I'm sorry, it's a fact. Doctor Who is cool. If you have a problem with that, then let's bring it, let's go. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. I love all sci-fi. I do have my favorites. Firefly, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars. That's not taking away from any of these. I love it all oh so much. Much to probably the detriment of my time. I spend way too much time watching sci-fi. But Doctor Who specifically for this reason, because today we're going to be talking about the time circuits, which just cracks me up. And I couldn't help myself but put a Doctor Who gag in there. As you guys know, I've been doing a lot of videos in very quick succession about this game. And so I wanted to let you guys leave comments and send me messages saying what you'd like to see next. And the response has been overwhelming. Specifically, I have had literally a viewer ask about the time circuits. And so I decided I would take a little time and do that. And for that, I'm going to show pictures and stuff, but I decided I probably better have the whiteboard because there's some stuff that I'd like to draw out and try to explain to the best of my ability. I do have some electronics experience. I know the difference between I know the difference between a diode and a Cheerio. For instance, I do know the difference between a jelly bean and a capacitor, but I learned that the hard way. Just don't ask. So let's talk about the time circuit. It's what makes this, what they call it, the pulse unit, but that's so boring. Let's call it the time circuit. It's way more exciting. So it's what makes this game unique. It's a timed game like we talked about. It's not a 3 or 5 ball game. It is a timed game, an EM72 Williams EM with a circuit board in it. Picture here, ding. And as you can see, it's quite a simple circuit. What we're going to do is we're going to try and draw the circuit out and explain how it works. It's basically 5 components. Granted, one of those is quite a big component, being the stepper unit that's associated with it. But on the board itself, there's only 4 things. And I'm going to go through and describe what those are and what they do, at least to the best of my ability, but enough for you to be able to diagnose yours and see what's wrong and see why it might not be working. And I'll go over some of the I want to go over some of the common symptoms as to what might be causing problems in the circuit and what you need to do to fix what, and what could be causing what. So that sounded like gibberish. I swear to God it's not. It actually made sense to me. So let's go to the board and I'm going to see if I can do my best to draw this out. This is not going to be a complex, beautiful circuit diagram that some engineers could read. I can barely read it since for my handwriting you need a Sherpa guide to navigate your way through. But let's go ahead and see what we can draw out for you and explain. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually given you a proper diagram. This was in the schematics, and so I was able to pull that out, but I'm also going to break it down a lot easier as to how this works. Basically, like I said, on the board there's 4 components. The 5th component is the actual stepper unit itself, which makes the adjustments, and that is a step up, step down. We'll discuss that in just a second. So The components on here are this. This is a resistor, a 4.7 K ohm resistor, a half watt. This is a 25 K ohm potentiometer, half watt. This is a 2N4401 transistor, and then we have a 25 microfarad capacitor. Now basically what happens with all this, I'm not going to go through it like this because it's a little complex. Basically power gets dumped through the potentiometer and the transistor, which acts like a, almost like a traffic guide. It tells which direction it's going to go before it dumps it back out. It dumps power into the cap, which is a battery. A cap is a capacitor. It has capacity it stores. So why didn't they call it a storer? Because that sounds stupid. So it dumps power into the cap. Now that cap is then held back by the resistor. Resist. That's what it does, is it resists it until it hits capacity of the capacitor, and then it dumps it out to the pulse relay. And now the pulse relay will trigger one of these little bad boys over here, which is a solenoid, and this is the, actually no, this is the down solenoid, because what this does is it's counting down. This one is up because there are features, oh sweet aeroplane, there's features on the board that will either stop the clock or add time. So this is only in play when the clock is started. And which certain features on the board. The clock will start and stop. So that's how the circuit works. Basically power gets fed into the capacitor. When it gets full, the resistor says, all right, dump it. And it dumps it out through the pulse relay, which hits the solenoid and says click. So that's basically how the circuit works. Now, what if it's not working? What's some of the symptoms of it not working? Let's say your game is just like flying through the timing cycle. There's a couple of things that could be going on. The resistor, which is most likely the common thing to go bad on that board. That's the highest point of failure on that board. It's going to be that little diode, that little resistor. Then it's just going to constantly be feeding and rotating, and you're going to be game over very quickly. Same thing if your cap is bad. If your cap is blown, it's just going to feed straight out. Or it might just freeze up entirely. If your potentiometer, if the pot's not working, or if the transistor is bad, that could cause the time circuit to freeze just completely, and the game won't advance. That's the most likely cause there is the transistor. Pots don't go bad that often, but who knows, you know, that's the symptoms that you can trace down if that's what's going wrong. Now you should be able to adjust the pot to get your time unit, as they call it. We'll call it seconds. But the time unit to be shorter or longer. Now, what I do on the game is I just time it out for 5 seconds, because that's how often everything should increment on the relay to this stepper unit and say click up, is 5 seconds. So a time unit should be 1 second. And you should be able to use the pot to trim that in, or to give it a little bit of a faster game if you want, or to give it a little bit more of a liberal feel to it. And as well, down here on this, there are a series of plugs that you can start at 1 minute, 1 minute 15, 1 minute 30, 1 minute 45, 2 minutes, and so on. That should be on that picture that I showed you. Now, I hope I've made this vaguely clear as I could. So just to recap, power dumps into the capacitor, which is a storage unit, and then the resistor says dump it out, and that sends all the electricity to the pulse relay, which then goes click, 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 click. Make sense? Gotta hope it does, because it barely does to me. Yeah, cool. If you have any questions about this, please leave me comments, and I will try and clarify in a later video. Or if I have completely and totally ballsed this up and I'm wrong in every way, I will apologize in a later video. But this seems to be how it works, and I've gone through and tested everything, and it looks good. So that's the time circuit. To wrap up, I just wanted to say thank you You guys are making this a lot of fun. I appreciate all of the feedback. You saw in the last video, which was only put up 2 days ago, that I hit 50 and I had my potted meat button. And I desperately wanted to move on to ham as soon as I hit 100. In 2 days, I've got 10 more subscribers. I hit 60 this morning. So thank you so much. Those of you who are watching this, if you could maybe leave a comment, definitely hit a like on this. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, rude, just do it. It's one stupid little button. And I promise my videos are cool. You'll like them. Yeah, so any questions or comments about any of this or anything else that's been going on, please let me know. The next video, we're gonna start tearing down the playfield on the game, and we're gonna start cleaning. I'll show you my cleaning methods for everything, for the plastics, how to keep those clean and good without losing paint. And then we will, after we got all that stripped and done, we're gonna do the touch-up video. Now, if there's other sections that you would like to see, or if there's anything you have seen that you would like me to clarify, please let me know in the comments or go ahead and message me or something like that. I will do my best to make this as entertaining for you as I can. This is directed by you guys. So thank you so much for all of the input and the feedback, and we will see you on the next video. That will be a few days from now. It's not gonna be quite as quick as these other ones, but not too long, I hope. So thanks guys, and we'll see you next time.